My apologies, dear devotees. We had some little problem with the network. We are back within few seconds now. So live is there, recording is there. We're just waiting for Marge.
Ashika?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble apologies. We had some network cut here. So we're back
Okay.
in action. Thank
I
you.
was wondering what happened.
Yes, sorry, Maharaj. The material
Anyway,
it's difficult to understand.
Yes, it is very, very, very difficult. So Prabhupada was in Nairobi in Mombasa.
Maharaj, your video is off. Can you please switch on your video also? Thank you.
My video is off. Oh, it's off. Okay, sorry.
Okay. Thank you. And we are also requesting devotees, please, if it's possible, please put your videos also on. March would really love to see devotees, Mauritian devotees have their darshan. So please, dear friends and devotees, put your videos on if it's possible. Thank you, Maharaj.
So in that way, we ended up in Mombasa. In Mombasa, Prabhupada was able to recuperate, was able to recover his health and continue with the work that he was doing of recording interviews with Samasunda, discussing Western philosophers. That's where we ended. So in Mombasa, Prabhupada was able to walk in the morning and continue with his schedule as usual. Whereas in London, he was suffocating in cloudy and cold weather. So in that way, what we were saying is that between this period, when Prabhupada's movement went to London, to India, during this period, movement began also in Malaysia, 1971. And Prabhupada now is in Africa. This was a very great period which confirmed Prabhupada as a Shaktavesh avatar. In other words, it confirmed him as a Shaktavesh avatar due to his activities and his achievements, because no one can do what he did unless he's empowered by the Lord. In a very short period, 10 years, Prabhupada established this movement all over the world and established a publishing company in a form of BBT and produced many, many books, which was never heard of in the history of Vaishnava communities. So that way we can see now that is manifesting now his empowerment by Krishna, how he's traveling from one country to the other. He was invited in Mombasa just to recover his health. But while he was there, he decided, okay, I'm going to preach here. So then Prabhupada went to Nairobi because it's the capital and began preaching there. And then this was 1971. In 1972, Prabhupada came back also to Kenya. And then 1972, when he came back, he did not come back alone. He came back with 3 personalities. One was Madhudisa Swami, another one was Banke Bihari and Radha. So when he came back, he came with Radha Banke Bihari in a plane, not by ship. And then Madhudisa Swami was taking care of Krishna. Prabhupada was taking care of Radharani. Prabhupada got them seated in a plane. And then Brahmananda, who was in Nairobi, did not know that Prabhupada was coming with Radha and Krishna. And suddenly he had a knock on his door. When he opened, oh, Prabhupada. Oh, Prabhupada, we were expecting you next week. Prabhupada, no. I changed my plan. I decided to come, but I came also with Radha Krishna. Please arrange the altar. The Lord has come. So Prabhupada was just spreading the movement like anything. He had been there the year before, and next year he's coming with big deities of Radha Krishna to be established and worshipped in Nairobi. It's very, very amazing. If you go there today, and then people were saying, we can't really maintain Radha Krishna. Prabhupada said, don't worry. In future, the deities here in this country, they will have a big temple, which will be like a temple of the demigods. And for many, many, many years, that prophecy has been fulfilled. The temple of Radha Banke Bihari in East Africa is a self-sufficient person. It's a self-sufficient person. Temple. And this temple is just very flourishing, just as Prabhupada had predicted. And it's just booming. Right now, they have maybe 150 devotees in the temple because they built for Grihasthas to live in a temple compound around the temple. So in that way, Prabhupada in 1972, when he came, he said, don't worry. Right now, there's nothing, but in future, Radha Banke Bihari will have a big temple, which will be like the temples of the demigods. So we can see during this period, Prabhupada is spreading Krishna consciousness like anything. So it was during this period also, 1971, 1972, when he came also to other countries in Africa. In 1971, he landed in Kenya, but the following year also, he visited. And then later, some few years later, 1975, he visited South Africa. But to Kenya, he was coming. He came from 1971. And then the last time he came was 1975, when he came from Mauritius. So they were very blessed. Prabhupada came more than twice in that country. And that was the mercy of Radha and Krishna, because Prabhupada had installed the deities there. So that way, Prabhupada, during this period, every time really spreading fast, many, many countries. During this period, also Prabhupada, 1971, was invited in Malaysia by one lawyer, doctor. His wife was a lawyer. They had given a house to the devotees, and then Prabhupada went there also to meet them and establish Krishna consciousness in Malaysia. So in that way, during this period between 1968 and 19 71, we can see how fast ISKCON was spreading, how fast Prabhupada was traveling, establishing temples, installing deities. It was just happening everywhere, in India, in Africa, in Australasia. This was like time Prabhupada established preaching in many, many places in Australia and different countries. So in that way, when we study Srila Prabhupada, we can only understand him through his activities. It is said that the tree can be judged by its fruit. So whether people like Prabhupada or they don't like Prabhupada, but they can't really help themselves when it comes to his preaching activities. And what he did, actually, no one can imagine that it was possible. For example, one devotee went to Bangladesh. And then in Bangladesh, he saw that there was a temple, that this temple was built in such a way that they could close the curtain in such a way that you don't see that's a temple. When they closed, it looked like a mosque, like there was no murti. But when there's arti time, they will open and then you see, you can take darshan. So there was a surprise. Oh, what temple is this? Yeah, because of Islamic influence. So they didn't want to have the deities visible to all people. So when they opened, was when he came to the temple, it looked like a mosque, no deities. And then when they opened, suddenly there comes the form of Radha and Krishna. And with the deities of Radha and Krishna, also they had shaligrams. Very beautiful shaligrams. So this devotee, he became attracted to these shaligrams and he asked the Pujari, can I have one? This is an ISKCON devotee new in Bangladesh. These devotees were amazed. How could you ask us to give you our deities? These are altar shaligrams. How possible is that? But anyway, they thought he's a white-bodied devotee. They never had a white-bodied devotee. They were curious as to how did he become a devotee. So he explained that he was an ISKCON devotee from overseas. So and then they took him to his guru. They said, okay, since you are insisting that you want to have one of our shaligrams, we'll take you to our guru and get his permission. So the guru had never seen a white Vaishnava before. He was also amazed. How did you become a devotee? So this devotee began to explain the history of Prabhupada, how Prabhupada went to the West, following the order of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So this guru was listening. He is a Vaishnava also. What happened in early days from Vrindavan, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he sent some of his disciples to establish temples and teach deity worship in Bangladesh. So this is one of those temples where he gave shaligrams to these devotees. So the same shaligrams were still worshipped in this temple. So then when the guru heard how Prabhupada went to the West and met devotees, and ISKCON is spreading like anything internationally, he said, I missed the opportunity. I used to read this statement by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that one day this Harinam Sankirtan will go all over the world, but I never thought it will happen in my life. So then he asked this devotee, he said, I would like to meet your guru, your Prabhupada, and take dust at his lotus feet. So the devotee explains that no, actually he has left his body. He has passed on. This guru lamented that I missed out. I didn't know that this prediction by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been taken on by someone. I would have liked to take dust at his lotus feet. So in that way, just the spreading of Krishna consciousness confirmed Prabhupada as someone who was very, very empowered by Mahaprabhu as a Shaktavesh. So even from the viewpoint of religious history, let alone our Vaishnava tradition, Prabhupada's preaching was a fulfillment of the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in Bengal about 5,000 years, 5,000 years ago, before Krishna consciousness came to the West. Srila Prabhupada can be appreciated not only generally as the empowered representative of God, but specifically as the manifestation of Nityananda Prabhu's mercy. According to Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, Lord Krishna manifests himself to the souls of ordinary people through Lord Nityananda. The individual soul requires the help or the mercy of the Guru to come out of the material world. So this help comes by the causeless mercy of Nityananda Mahaprabhu. In other words, Krishna, through Nityananda Mahaprabhu, he manifests this mercy to the jiva. So Nityananda Mahajan is that manifestation of mercy from Krishna. So we see that in this Gaura Lila, Nityananda Mahajan is a direct expansion of Lord Gauranga. So in Gaura Lila, Nityananda Mahajan serves Mahaprabhu, or his service to Mahaprabhu is the redemption of the fallen souls. He's the one that is redeeming the fallen souls. That is his mission in Gaura Lila. We can see how he charged the souls like Jagai Mada and many other fallen souls. Yeah, who are the most fallen and most envious. And Nityananda will go out of his way to reclaim those souls. So as Adi Guru, Nityananda Mahajan as the original Guru, it is said that all other empowered Guru also are his manifestation. So in other words, the empowerment from Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it comes through Nityananda Mahaprabhu Mahajan, who is an Adi Guru, to the Gurus who are following in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Otherwise, it's not possible for anyone to do what Prabhupada did. So in that way, his activities, which are recorded in volume 4, chapter 1, every town and every village confirms him as the empowered personality who came to reclaim us fallen souls, being the representative of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda. So that we, Srila Prabhupada, by these leelas from 1968 till to 1971, we can understand that he was no ordinary guru, but he was an empowered avatar of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in that way, we can appreciate and take courage also to help him to spread the movement more and more, because now he's not on the planet, but through us, through the devotees of ISKCON, this movement is going on. The books are being printed, the books are being distributed. The temples also didn't stop when Prabhupada left the parents. more and more and more temples by his grace are being opened and being offered to Srila Prabhupada, and more books are being produced by ISKCON devotees and offered at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. So that's the power of the devotee of the Lord, the empowered devotee of the Lord, that he empowers others also to further his mission. It's not that his mission died with him when he leaves the planet and then it just stops there, but he empowers others to further distribute the mission of the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada is that example of the Shakti Vesh avatar, someone who's directly empowered by Krishna. So thank you very much. And it's wonderful that we have this program because it kind of like get us to remember Srila Prabhupada and be able to share his leelas, which also is encouraging us and reminding us that we still also have more to do in order to further his mission in every town and every village. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki.
Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Marge, so much for your presentation and tonight. Thank you for showing us how Srila Prabhupada is the empowered person to propagate, to push this Sankirtan movement. And indeed, as you mentioned, it's amazing to see such an old person traveling and installing deities all around the world. It's amazing. And this is the power of the founder Acharya of this society, Srila Prabhupada. And I would request devotees who, if you have any question or comment, please click on your virtual hand so that we can take your questions and comment, and then we can move to the second part of this wonderful program of Srila Prabhupada lilamrta. Anyone is having any question or comment, please click on your virtual hand and then we'll allow you to intervene. Marge, I have one question. How do when you were speaking about Srila Prabhupada being in Mombasa, Kenya, which is part of Africa, I really wanted to know, like the early days, if you have how ISKCON Africa emerged.
Yes.
Can you please give us some more nectar and detail? What are the challenges devotees face in Africa? Because it's easy to it's easy for us to hear like Prabhupada came with the white elephants, but also we have the black lotuses. So please guide us nectar pastimes of the black lotuses. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So in 1971, Prabhupada came to recover his health, being invited by Mr. Pandya of Nairobi. But after recovering, he began to preach. So in those days, Prabhupada was staying with different families, maybe for 2 and 3 days, and then he will go to another part of the city and meet people. So Prabhupada really wanted to establish ISKCON in Kenya. That was proved by his second visit. The next year he came with Radhabanga Vihar, even though the devotees were not ready. He said, no, you get ready. So then when Prabhupada in Africa at that time, Kenya was not a rich country as it is now. Now it's well off. But the economy was not very good. so people couldn't afford books. And then Prabhupada made the arrangement with the Dai Nippon in Japan to print Krishna book. Maybe you remember in old days we had Krishna books that came in a pocket, small ones.
Yes.
Yes, those were originally printed for Nairobi, for Africa actually, yes. So Prabhupada printed those books especially for that mission. And he invited devotees like Bhuta Bhavana Prabhu from America, Shravan Swami, and many devotees came to East Africa, to Nairobi, Mombasa. Navayogenda Swami was based in Mombasa with many other devotees. And Brahmananda, he made Brahmananda the GPC of that area. And then they began preaching, but it was not easy because at that time, they were doing mainly, ISKCON was dependent on life membership. So they were enrolling life members in that way, solicit donations for the temple, for their preaching. At the time, they were still small. But what happened, because of this life membership in Africa not working well, devotees were just signing up the Indian people and don't supply the books and the BTGs that they had promised. So when they came again, Indians said, no, we are not going to support you. And there was a problem. So that went on for many years, and financially the preaching suffered. Say between 1976 until 1989. Radha Banke Bihari couldn't get proper sabjis, milk, and other ingredients. And then in 1989, Gopal Krishna Maharaj became a GPC after Bhagavan. Bhagavan left Africa in 1986. That's when he stopped being a GPC, and then Gopal Krishna Maharaj came. And then when Gopal Krishna Maharaj came, devotees were thinking, no, this is not working. It's better if we close this temple. And Gopal Krishna Maharaj said, no, Prabhupada opened this temple. We cannot close any temple that was opened by Prabhupada. It has to be kept open. So what to do? Gopal Krishna Maharaj said, no, I'll do something. I'll bring someone from India and see what he can do. And then he sent one devotee who was new, Umapati Prabhu, who's still there today. He told him, you go to Nairobi and be a pujari and see what you can do. So this devotee came to Nairobi and he started helping with pujari work, but there was no money, there was nothing. There was no Lakshmi to buy flowers, to buy boga for the Lord. And he decided to do Sankirtan. And he was good with Sankirtan, and he brought in some money. And then later he had an idea, maybe if we can build the Lord, the new temple, Prabhupada will be pleased. So he gathered some people from the congregation and gave them the idea that I think we should build a proper temple here. So they looked for the land, they couldn't find any land. They were thinking of getting some land outside the existing temple, but there were no lands available. So then they decided to break the original house where Prabhupada established Radha Bihari. It was a big house, was not a proper temple. That's where they built the temple within the same premises. And after they built the temple, and then Lakshmi started coming in, everything just started flourishing. And that's Prabhupada's mercy manifestation, because he had predicted many years ago that the temple will rise in this place. So the temple came up, and then the money also came. And then the local Indian people that were not supporting ISKCON, they became impressed now when they saw the temple. No, these people are serious. They are not siphoning BTG, and just eating money. Now they are doing something for Krishna. Then they came back and supported the mandate. So in that way, with the support of the temple and good management, eventually Nairobi became a self-sufficient temple. So since that time, they've been preaching, but preaching in Nairobi is not as big as South Africa. But now they have Krishna Balaram farm with cows, and they are growing their own vegetables. And Mombasa, they have 2 temples now. In 2011, we opened a new temple for Rukmin Dwaragadish, and we installed Sitaram Lakshman. So also Mombasa is big now. In that way, East Africa is getting bigger and bigger. In terms of devotees, the numbers are increasing. We have, right now in the temple in Nairobi, we have about 150 devotees. Of course, that most of them come from Grihastha Ashram and some brahmacharis. And they have a very good university program going on. They have a flat for that in the temple for students to come and learn Krishna consciousness. They have about 40 to 50 students that are living there at the Hare Krishna Training Center. And the Food for Life program is distributing over 1,000 plates. So in that part of Africa, it is going on very nicely. It's managed very nicely. Of course, in the early days, it was difficult. His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Maharaj told me there's a place where he felt that was not really easy to break through. Whereas when he went to West Africa, devotees were made very, very quickly. Yeah. Well, the reason at that time was due to poverty in the country. And also there were many political crises and people were not certain. Yeah, there was instability in the country, and they were very suspicious also of new religions. For example, there was this Cold War between America and Russia. So that also had some effects to certain countries in Africa, especially in East Africa. In those days, people didn't trust devotees because they thought that they were like kind of like CIA members in disguise. So there were a lot of problems like that in those days. Yeah, they thought that these people are working with Russians, like with Americans. Yeah, they're like CIA. Yeah, there was that issue also of suspicion. But now all that is gone, and ISKCON is accepted by everyone and is flourishing very nicely. And actually, next year, 2021, they will be celebrating 50 years of Radhabangi Bihari coming to Nairobi. There will be a big festival.
Wow.
So hopefully the pandemic will be eased at that time. It will depend.
And
but we're planning a big festival.
And we can fly there, Maharaj, and be in the association of so many wonderful devotees. Because
and we have big guest house, you can come, no problem.
I'll stay with you, Maharaj.
I stay in a brahmachari ashram, but I can give you a place in the guest house.
We see also like with Srila Prabhupada's visit in Africa, Africa flourished in so many ways, especially like noteworthy is the Radharanath temple, the South African Rath Yatra, which is worldwide known and renowned. Also, we see that so many sannyasis came from Africa, starting with Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj. His Holiness Bhakti Brihad Bhagavad Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodar Swami Maharaj, your own Holiness Bhakti Narasimha Swami Maharaj. We have His Bhakti Charudeshna Swami Maharaj, and we also have our very first Grihastha Guru, Srivasa Das Vanachari Prabhu. That's wonderful. In like
Yes,
50 years
growing.
of ISKCON. And how do you perceive, Maharaj, the coming days of ISKCON Africa?
Yes, we are growing slowly, but surely.
Yes.
As Bhakti Maharaj used to say, that we need to plant the seeds of Krishna consciousness deeply in the soil of Africa. I'm beginning to realize that. Because you used to tell me these things when we used to discuss.
I mean, the fact that Mauritius also is part of Africa.
Definitely.
We feel being so fortunate, Maharaj, to be part of this wonderful yatra. So, if any devotee has any question, you can please click on your virtual hand to intervene, right? Okay. So the fact that we don't have Matsya Prabhu, would you like to add something? Or Ajay Prabhu, Vidur Prabhu, anyone? Hare Krishna Das Prabhu? Okay. So if we don't have any questions and comments, so we would thank you again, Maharaj, for being so kind to attend to our call and share this wonderful pastime of the founder Acharya of this great movement of ISKCON. And we thank you wholeheartedly, hoping, praying, and wishing to see you very soon in Mauritius, because as from 1st of July, things are getting better in Mauritius.
Oh, really? That's good. That's good news.
Yeah, things are getting much better, and maybe we're gonna get flights also. So we look forward to have you, our association. Thank you, Maharaj. And our next speaker for this Saturday, my dear friends, we will be welcoming His Holiness Brihad Bhagavad Swami Maharaj from South Africa, but in Mauritius. So Maharaj, yes. So Maharaj is here. So Maharaj will be speaking on volume 4, chapter 2, and it's entitled London, a Day, a Dream Fulfilled. Dearest friends and devotees, I would ask you to please note that this lecture will start a bit early. So Maharaj will be speaking as from 7 p.m. and not 8 p.m. So Maharaj will start at 7 p.m. to end at 8:30. And thus I request devotees to please take note, and we see you on Saturday. Till then, I would request you humbly to please unmute yourself in 2 seconds. Okay, now you can unmute yourself and switch on your camera to chant loud Hare Krishna, and with our obeisances to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis present here. Okay. Okay, here we go. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripasinubhya eva Vanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namo.
Antakoti Vaishnavindaki, Prabhupada ki, His Holiness Bhakti Narasimha Swami Maharaj ki.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
So dear devotees, please stay safe, take good care of yourself, and we see each other on this Saturday with a new chapter, but the same nectar which is flowing about Srila Prabhupada Lila Katha. Hare Krishna, see you. Hare
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj again, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much, Srila Prabhupada.
There you go.